All right, guys, in today's vlog, we're gonna do a quarter 1 update. We just wrapped it up. We're in April, first week of April, so we just wrapped up January, February, and March. We're gonna break down the sales, the revenue, what worked, what didn't, so stay tuned. For January, I know that January tends to be our slowest month, right?
Yeah, it tends to be our slowest month. Last year's January, we did $15,000 less than we did this year, but it was relatively high compared to last year's. January, we did what, roughly 240?
Yeah.
Last year, January, we did 180. So it was a good jump. Now, it's nothing compared to the following month that we're going to go over, which is February. And definitely one of the things going into this year was optimizing. Because I know we did a lot of volume. We did a lot. We went wide in terms of the vehicles, the products, the categories. We went extremely wide. But one of the things that we did not do was, optimizing the listing, the images, making the product better. And so I know that that was really the next step in order to actually get us to a place where we wanted to be. So this year for sure is the year of optimizing better. We already did volume. We already went wide. Now it's time to do better. The following sales of the following months are a clear reflection of what the things that happened in 2024, but at the same time, the things that we started doing in late 2024, early 2025. Towards the middle, end of February, people started getting the tax returns. So that's one of the things that always helps us in our business is when tax season comes, the sales do jump up. And so us trying to move as fast as possible right before to catch that wave was extremely important. So that's why in the beginning of the year, end of last year, I was pushing, like, let's go, let's push in order to catch that wave. And so when we do catch that wave, usually the tendency is for us to stay around there. So when we catch this wave, we're gonna catch a really big wave. And so stay up there and then just continue going from there. So that was the goal at the beginning of this year and last year.
And how did that go for us?
It went extremely well because we hit in the month of March revenue 415,000. Which if we extrapolate that to the entirety of the year, assuming that every month we do $415,000 in revenue, that's 4,980,000. So that's pretty much hitting our goal. In the month of January, I know our revenue was 240,000. In the month of February, it was 270,000. And in the month of March, it was 415,000 in revenue. So that's the breakdown of our quarterly earnings per se.
And then how much in total?
In total, for the first quarter, it was 927,000.
Yep.
So, pretty good quarter.
How does that make you guys feel coming from Mexico and now almost hitting a million?
I know there are expenses that are, doesn't account for any of the fees, any returns or anything like that. But definitely hitting that goal, I think it gives us pretty good idea. It's very doable. It's achievable. It's like, the numbers that we see, like big numbers, they're not out of the question. And so the fact that we actually hit those numbers, it for one, it gives me optimism, and I think it gives us optimism for what's possible. Boosts the ego a little bit. It does boost the ego a little bit, but more than anything, it makes us feel that it's possible. It's very, very possible. And the things that we're doing and the things that we're working on are the right things.
The hard part of running the business is making decisions, because even now, to this day, I still have trouble locking in and making the full decision because there's a lot of things that you need to account for. So if I make a certain decision, how is it going to affect people's work? How is it going to affect the revenue? How is it going to affect money in the bank account? So there's a lot of things that go into making decisions, because I know towards the middle of the quarter, we kind of pivoted in a way that we kind of solidified my brothers and myself's role. For our main company, we decided that you're going to go all in and I'm just going to be completely out of it. I'm not going to be involved. We're going to be still talking. We're still going to be making decisions, but I'm not going to be involved in the day-to-day or just the overall decision. We're just going to go back and forth, see what makes sense and see what doesn't. And then on my end, it's with the media team, growing the personal brand, growing the brand for each company for the main company that we have, and then the other brand that we are going to be coming out with. That's what my focus is going to be. It's going to be the media, and it's going to be the new brand that we're building up.
In terms of revenue, we generated 927,000 for the first quarter. But I know there's a misconception that when people say, "Oh, we made $3 million, we made $5 million, we made $10 million," means that just the revenue that was generated. Sales. This doesn't account for any of the expenses that are incurred. We had over $40,000 in refunds and returns. Granted, it comes with the territory. Just e-commerce, selling online, just think of the times that we've returned something. That's a refund that comes to us. That's expenses that's incurred on the business with the return shipping. Maybe if it's not usable again. The bigger ones are the fees that are incurred. Well, roughly 15% fees, and maybe the advertising cost, another like 10, 15, 20% of the entirety of the revenue. That doesn't include any of the labor, which is a lot, any of the warehousing expenses, any of the utilities, any of the packaging, any of the shipping. The shipping itself,
expensive.
It's extremely expensive, and so it doesn't account for all of them. From 927, you go down extremely fast, and so not all that revenue was profit. It was revenue. There is a market fit for us. That's how I see it. There is a market fit, and that means they're exponential. So what do we have to do in order to just be more profitable? In terms of the expenses, seeing how we can, for example, maybe negotiate some of the terms when it comes to shipping, packaging, raw materials. We have a lot of returns and refunds. How can we make it so that when people get their product, they don't want to return or want to refund? Making the product better, making it so good that we're able to also increase the price and making our margins a lot better. The goal for Q2, and I think we have to have a little bit of patience, especially like as tax season does die off. The goal would be to be at 1.25 million, which is times 4, that's 5 million. Using AI, because it would be easier if we had, few listings or few products that we were able to just adapt. But because we do have such a large database of products, using AI to help automate like the changes. For example, we need to change the main image for like 10,000 or 1,000 of our units. Manually, that's gonna take a long time. It's gonna take weeks. But AI should allow us to do it in a matter of hours. Those changes that are needed in order to increase the revenue, we're definitely gonna see that in Q2. I'm excited and hopeful for Q2. But the goal is, if you were to say 1.25 million in terms of the revenue, meaning that we have to be doing $413,033.33 a month in order to hit that exact 1.25 million. And honestly, this month we're probably going to be on track. I don't know how we would not get there. Like it's more clear now. That's the goal for Q2.
For the media and the Shield Me, it's a little bit more simple. For the media, it's just continue to showcase our behind the scenes, the vlogs, the journey of us being the Villegas brothers, being brothers in business. That's the goal. I know more tangible goals. It's get the short form higher onboarded. You can start creating short form content, because that's one of the things we're lacking in. We completely stopped doing short form content to go all in on YouTube. We're still figuring out YouTube. We're still, had to dial in the packaging, had to dial in the ideas, had to dial in how or what content we're gonna make. So that's for the media. And then for Shield Me, it's like I mentioned, it's just having everything ready, so when shops decide to work with us, so we could work together, everything is there. They're gonna have the systems, they're gonna have a brand that's gonna be behind them to help them grow with each other. For the most part, I'm still waiting for the logistical stuff, but once that's done, it's just reaching out to shops. We're just showcasing the products. It's just becoming a brand, and eventually we are gonna compete against the big brands, against the Lumars, against the 3Ms, against the Expels, and people watching, you might think that, how are these guys going to compete against them? But that's one thing, that we are going to compete against them. It may not be this year, it may not be next year, but eventually we're going to be one of the, the big players that are going to be competing against those companies, against those brands, against those fossils.
Old
company.
Yeah, because that's what you meant by fossil, huh?
Yep.
Like that's pretty much it. The Q2 was.
That was a good way to end it.
Yeah.
Like that we're gonna compete. We're gonna beat those fossils.